Guys, in this video we're going to talk about one of the very useful features of Java, especially in case of inheritance. We're going to use a keyword that's very powerful, and that is super keyword. So let's see how we can use super keyword in case of inheritance. So for that sake I have taken two classes. One is the super class or the parent class, and then I have a subclass or the child class. So the name of the superclass is base and the name of the child class is derived. So derived is extended from base class. So these are the two classes. So let's see what is the use of super keyword in case of inheritance. What if I have a data members whose names are same in both parent class as well as child class? So let's see that. For that I have taken an integer data member and I'm going to assign the value of this integer data member to 100, and I would like to declare one more data member, that is x, in derived class as well, and here I'm going to assign 1000 to this x. So see that we have the name of the data member which is there in the parent class as well as in the subclass having the same name. And now let's display this. So I will use a method called as display to print the value of x here, system.out.println, and value of x in derived class. So let's print this is x, right? And now we have to create an object of the derived class. So this is derived d equals to new derived, that's it, and we have to call the display method to display the value of x. So this is how we call this and execute the program, and here we get the output as value of x. So I will just expand this. So value of x in derived class is 1000. So this is the output we have got. Since we have the object of the derived class, though we have the value of x initialized in derived as well as base class, and when we print this x, obviously it is going to take the value of x that is there in the derived class, because whichever is local, so that will have the priority. So we have got the value of x as 1000. What if I want to print the value of x that is present in the super class, that is in the base class? So let's print that. So value of x in base class. So let me change this. This is base class. So here we need to do little modification. We have to use a keyword, that is super dot x. So super here refers to the super class of the derived class. So we know that super class of derived class is base. So when we write super dot x, it is going to get the value of x from its parent. So that is what is x equals to 100. Now when we run the code, I did not make any changes in the main method. It is just the object of the derived class and we are calling the display method over here. There is no other change. So let's run this and see what will be the output this time. So here we have got value of x in base class is 100. So using super keyword, we were able to access the data member which is present in the super class, because here the data members which are there in the super class and subclass share the same name. If it was different, then obviously let's say for example I will take another variable, let's say y equals to some 300. Okay, so here I would like to print the value of y along with x. In this case, value of y. So here I am not writing it as value of y in base or value of y in derived, because there is only one y that is there in the base class. So here I will just use a concatenation operator so that it gets the message as well as the value of the y getting printed. So now I should get the output as value of x in base class is 100 and value of y is 300. So here I did not use any super keyword. So let's execute this and see the output. Yes, here we have got this value of x in base class is 100 and value of y is 300. So here, though we did not use the super keyword, we were able to access this 300. Then why did I use super when I wanted to print the value of x which is there in the super class? The reason is very clear here, because we have x defined in the base as well as in the derived class. So whenever we have data members having the same name in the super class as well as subclass, and if we would like to access the value of that data member from the base class, we have to use the super keyword. Whereas when it comes to y, you can see that we do not have y data member defined here in the derived class, isn't it? So we have y which is there in the base class. So class derived is a subclass of base class. So whatever is there in the base class can be accessed easily. So we have used y, and since there is no y in the subclass, there is no conflict here. So no need to use a super keyword in this case. So let's print the value of x which is there in the derived also. So let me put one more system.out.println statement over here. So this is value of x in derived class. So this time I'm going to print it as just x, not super.x, because this is present in the derived class itself and we have the object of the derived class. So run this code. Now we have to get three output over here, three lines of the output. So first one is value of x in base class is 100 and value of x in derived is 1000 and value of y is 300. So this is one of the uses of using super keyword whenever we have the same data members in the super as well as subclasses, and we have created a subclasses object and using which we would like to access using which we would like to access the values which are there in the super as well as the subclass. We have to use the super keyword. And then there is one more use of super keyword, that is, for that sake I will remove all these data member declarations. Whenever we have the method names same in the base as well as the derived class. For example, we have a display method over here, right? So I will create a display method in the super class also. Display method, and this time I'm just going to print a system.out.println. So let's print it as we are in base, and here also I'm going to remove all other additional statements from this, and let's take only one system.out.println and let's put it as we are in derived. We are in derived. That's it. So we know that in the concept called as method overriding, whenever we have the same method names in the base class as well as the derived class, that is in the parent class as well as in the child class, and if you are trying to access that method using the derived classes object, it overrides the method which is there in the base class. So this concept we have already seen. So method overriding. So here if I'm going to call this using object D, which is of type derived class D dot display, obviously it should call the display method which is there in the derived class, isn't it? So it is going to override the display method which is there in the parent class. So let's run this code. We have compiled this and let's see what is the output here. The output is we are in derived. That means the display method which is there in the subclass got executed and not the one which is there in the parent class. So this is because of the concept called as method overriding. So whenever you have same method names and you have the object of the derived class and you are accessing the method using that derived classes object, it is quite natural that you will get the method which is there in the subclass getting executed, not the one which is there in the parent class. But what if I want to access the parent classes method also? I want to get this also to be executed using here. For example, maybe here I would like to call the display method which is there in the base class also. Then you have to do this as super dot display, super dot display. So when we call this as super dot display, it is going to, the control will be passed to the display method of the super class, that is the parent class of the derived class. So we know that parent class is base and the child class is derived. When we refer to super, it goes to the parent class or the super class and it will get the, it will execute the display method. So this time when the control goes to this particular statement, it has to go to its super classes display method, and here we have only one statement, that is we are in base. So once the instructions that are there in the method gets executed, the control comes back to this instruction, and here we have a print statement. It has to print we are in derived. That means if we execute this program, we have to get the two lines of output, that is we are in base and we are in derived. So let's see whether we get the expected result here. So run this code and let's see what is going to happen. Yes, we have got the two lines of code as expected. We are in base and we are in derived. So the use of super keyword is whenever we have the method names which are the same name, which are there in the base as well as the derived class, and you would like to access the base classes method, you have to use the super keyword. So this is another use of the super keyword. So coming to the last use of super keyword, so let's have some constructors instead of the methods over here. So I'm going to remove all the methods from this. So let's clear this and create the constructors. You know that constructor is a special method which gets executed just upon creation of an object, or whenever you create an instance of a class, and if you have any constructor defined in your class, that will be executed automatically. You need not have to call that explicitly using the name of the object and with the dot operator. Like in the previous case, we had display methods and we called those display method using D, that is object. So this is what we did. So now this is not required because we are going to have the constructors. So constructor will be called the moment you create any object of the class, right? So let's create some constructors over here. I'm going to create a constructor in the base class. So this is a parameterless constructor. The meaning of parameterless constructor is which will not take any parameters. It is empty pair of parentheses, that is what I have used over here. And let's say system.out.println statement and base class constructor, so that's it. So similarly, I'm going to create a derived classes constructor also, and again this is going to be a parameterless constructor, and let's put system.out.println over here and write it as derived class constructor. So in both parent class and the child class, we have the constructors which are parameterless, and here in the main method we have only one statement, that is creation of the object of the derived class. As I mentioned earlier, whenever you create any instance or object of a class, if there is a constructor defined in your class, that gets called automatically and that will be executed. So here we have the constructors over here, correct? So obviously it has to execute the constructor. So let's execute this and see what will be the output. Yes, we have got two things here in the output, base class constructor and derived class constructor. So why did we get two things over here, though I created only the subclasses object? Here I have created object of only derived class. That means it should have gone to the derived classes constructor, which is this, and it should have printed derived class constructor. But I am getting both base class constructor and derived class constructor. So you can see that I have not created any object of the base class. The reason for we getting these two things as the output is, whenever you create an object of the subclass, it will be the order of the execution of the constructor will be always the base classes constructor will be executed first, and then it comes to the derived classes constructor. So it has gone to the base classes constructor and it has printed this, that is base class constructor. So after this it has gone to the derived classes constructor and it has printed this. So we have got two lines as the output over here, though I created only one object and that too which is of type derived. So this is all fine, and let's see what happens if I put a super keyword over here, super, without any dot operator or any parameters over here. So what happens now? See, in the previous scenario, when we had the display method in the base as well as the derived class, when I used super dot display, the control went to the super class's display method. Similarly, here I am using super and I am not using any dot operator or any method names over here, because constructors are not called explicitly using the dot operator, isn't it? They will be called automatically. So I have just used this. That means here what am I expecting is, I want the base classes constructor getting executed, which happened just as we did in the previous case. So execute this. Here you can see that there is no change in the output. So whether you use super keyword or no, it doesn't matter in this case. Obviously the order of execution of the constructors is from the base and then to the derived class in case of constructors. Then when are we going to use the super keyword in case of constructors? See, this was a parameterless constructor. Let's see, what if we have a parameterized constructor? Parameterized constructors are the constructors or the methods which take some parameters. So here for instance I have taken a parameter of type integer. That means it requires one integer value to be passed. So this type of constructors are called as parameterized constructor. And the moment I changed this, you can observe that here I am getting something, some error over here. Implicit super constructor base is undefined, must explicitly invoke another constructor. Correct. So that means here I have written some parameterized constructor, and here in the derived class I am writing a parameterless constructor. So here I have created the object of the derived class, and as I mentioned earlier, whenever you create any object of the derived class and if it has constructor, the order of execution of constructors is starting from the base and then derived. That means it is trying to execute this, but it wants to accept a parameter which is not passed. That is the reason it is giving the error. So we have to use the super keyword and we need to pass an integer value over here so that this will be passed on to the parameter of this base classes constructor. So now you can see that now we are not getting any error message over here. That means here I did not do any modifications. It was just a derived classes object. The moment you created any object, it went to the constructors, and since in the base class constructor we have a parameterized constructor, so we need to pass a value, a matching value. Here it is of type int, so I am passing it as 100. So super dot 100. The moment you do this, control goes to this and it executes this particular thing, and the control comes back over here and then this gets executed. So the use of super keyword in case of constructors, that too in case of inheritance, is if you have a parameterized constructor in the base class, you have to pass a parameter through the derived classes constructor using the super keyword. Otherwise it will throw an error, because the order of execution of the constructors is always from base and then derived class. So let's execute this and see what it is going to print. So base class constructor and derived class constructor, no change. So let me print the value of x, whatever we have got here in the base. Value of x is, so here let's take a concatenation operator and print the value of x. So it should print the value of x as 100, and then it should print derived class constructor this time. Yes, we have got the output as value of x is 100 and derived class constructor. So this is another usage of super keyword. So please note that whenever you are using the super keyword in case of constructors, the super instruction has to be the first instruction in the constructor. That means you cannot remove this and you cannot change the ordering of this, and maybe I want to put it over here. So you can see that we are getting some warnings over here, isn't it? So constructor call must be the first statement in a constructor. That means always the super instruction in case of constructors should be the first statement. You cannot put it after some statements in case of constructors. So it has to be always the first instruction. So this is not same in case of methods. In the previous case we had the display method and we wanted to call the display method of the super class. In that case you could put that super dot display as a first statement, or later also you could use it. There it is not going to make any difference. But if it is a constructor, please note that super instruction has to be the first instruction in the derived classes constructor, because this is the point from where it is going to call the base class. And you know that always the base classes constructor will be executed first. That is the priority. Then it comes back to the derived class. So having said this, in all these cases we always exist the methods or the data members or the constructors of the immediate parent. Okay, so this is very important to be noted, because if you have class say A and then derived class of A is B and then derived class of B is C. So if you have this type of multi-level inheritance, so from C, using super keyword, you can access the methods, constructors and the data members from its immediate parent class, that is from B. Now using super you cannot access from C, you cannot access A classes method. So always please remember this, it is immediate parent classes methods or the data members. So these are the three important usages of this super keyword, and you have to use those super keywords properly. So one observation what I did when I was evaluating your termworks was, some of you tried using super keyword in the base class itself, that is in the super class. So if you are doing this, this is meaningless. This is meaningless. So what it is going to do over here? It is of no use, because when you write super, there should be some super class that present in this base class. See, base itself is a super class in this scenario, in this example. So there is no parent class of this. If there was any parent class of this, then it would have accessed that classes constructor or a method or whatever. So don't use this super keyword, which is meaningless if you are using it in the base class. It has to be properly used in the subclasses, because if you are trying to do this, it is meaningless, though it is not going to give you any error, but you are not achieving anything by using a super keyword. Super keyword has to be used in the subclasses, not in the parent class. Okay, that's all for now. So we to conclude this video, we have seen that the use of super keyword is whenever we have same data members in the base class and the derived class, and you would like to access the base classes data member from the derived class, you have to use the super keyword. That is the first use. And another use is when you have same method names in the super class and subclass, you can access the super classes methods using the super keyword. And third is when you would like to access the super classes constructors, especially if you have parameterized constructor, you can pass the values through the derived classes constructor using the super keyword. So these are the three important features of super keyword, and that's all for now. Maybe in the next video we are going to discuss one more very important concepts of Java. Until then, take care. Bye bye. Thank you.